Okay, I would like to recap with our professionals in the world today about some of the information I see coming through our mainstream media. First of all, COVID went by many names. It was Corona, other different names. You name something and then you have to name it something else to keep naming it. So here's the thing, the reason I say this. It's because you're running out of names, you're running out of nomenclatures for these ideas, and these ideas don't create themselves as much as we thought. It's remarkable. It is. It's design. Oh, it is. It is a design. Your romanticizations of something that is capable of taking human life, and you treat it like it's a thriller. Like, ooh, look what this can do. If you're that kind of scientist today, I hope in some way you reap what you sow. It's not exciting to watch you describe something in so much detail as if you enjoy it, and then turn around to explain it to everyone as if it's a natural phenomenon that you had no assistance in developing as a means to understand it or weaponize it, or both, or, when does science become taboo? Well, it always has been, because of the unsupervised programs. Okay, these are the ones I'm talking about. And they're all over the world, because civilization didn't start in America. It started on this planet, and we've migrated for hundreds of thousands, millions of years. Okay, we have archaeological finds that have been dated, carbon dated 500,000 years ago, where we were already using tools, lemmings. I mean, come on, we've been very intelligent for some time. So much, in fact, I think you really underestimate our ability to reason with your language and your emotions, or I should say, in contrast to the lack thereof, because some of us could find that a bit more in the sociopathic department. However, in the spirit of not boxing things in, because language has a tendency to do that, I'm not going to professionally advise you to misrepresent my words today. I know a lot about a little, enough to scratch the surface in just about any area you could think of. That's good. Helps me feel good. Connecting the dots, completing the web of thoughts that allow me to see something like genetic anomalies, our wisdom, quote unquote, understanding, knowledge, not experience, so it's different. Okay. The calculator is not telling you what 2 + 2 is. You are telling the calculator how to put that together and give you something quickly based on a few responses, which you could have done in here anyway. You should have, because the moment you gave this world the ability to think for itself, you thought it did. It does not. You are thinking. The world is not. Things are not thinking. Ideas come from persons. Personal ideas are not something you can cache, unless you've given a system value in the areas that I'm discussing now by design. So our life is important to them, and yet they're awed at the capabilities of such beautiful viruses / designs. Well, if if you know how a virus works, you know it's more like a machine. If you know how the body works, you know that this is the reason you become susceptible to these things. When you're not monitoring your intake in either direction in a way that guarantees your success, you become like a calculator. You're a good tool, but unless I'm telling you to push buttons or I'm pushing your buttons, you're not very good for me. Because you didn't think at all. We thought, therefore, we commanded to. That's a calculator. We built it. Great. We modeled it after the mind. It took a mind to understand the mind to get to that. A lot of time. That is the experience you're going to give credit to. Not capitalize on commercialism as a sickness. To watch society inflate not just the ideas, but something you called valuable. To watch them capitalize on something that doesn't exist, inflate the bubble, cash all that in, put it in the places that matter, watch the lower class suffer. The bubble pops, the lower class goes, oh yay, we're doing things, we must have somebody in office that's doing really good things. No, the numbers are doing it all. They're just laughing about it because we think they did something. Well, they did. They're laughing about it, and it's rude. Because I don't like that commercialism is capitalizing. Like the corporation we became in 1870, no longer United States of anything. If you know your history, look into that. And all it takes is knowing to diffuse the situation. But what's funny is I grew up in a place that didn't know, that pretends it does. And when you tell them you know, and they don't believe you, if they're not culturally sound, then they have to wait for society to come in and pretty much give them everything I'm giving you now, which is, you lied to us, Gabby. And you've taken lives to discuss something that you already tell us has a design. If you know something about that, you know how that works. You don't have to hide anymore because when they started Corona, the members, they had already set up everything for this to play out years ago. If you know your history, you know that too. They had patents on things that you paid money for, something that doesn't exist, while they swept a bunch of dirt under the rug. We all know about that too. They claimed those people got sick to spare their families from the embarrassment. Meanwhile, those families are pretty much where they were, capitalizing on their failures, what they called success, which is not, because your roots are dirty, and that inflated bubble of thought, which is your value system. It goes up and down all the time, and they write it like a wave. So, capitalize, bubble pops, and they start all over. It's great when the bubble pops because starting over means it doesn't hurt the lower class as much. So if you're a scientist and you get excited about how destructive your science is, you're not good for the common health. If you get excited about understanding it, that's different. But to elate and or romanticize the idea of something because it is destructive comes from a destructive personality. And if these are the individuals we have leading us now, which we have, then it's no surprise that unsupervised programs, nonprofit organizations, big pharma, police unions, our politicians, the mafia, and the rest of the drug carteled world is in control. That is the mainstream in America. The world is actually not like that as much as you think. Big cities, guaranteed, because there's a democracy going on. It took all races, all types, to create that. If you know your history really well, you would understand that slavery had nothing to do with your skin color. It was who knew more than the other. Knowledge was, and always has been, your power, until you've used it to corrupt absolutely, to become corrupted by that power when you thought you knew it all. You do not. But it's beginning to become very clear what we do know about the virus covered up your Epstein epidemic. And was a great distraction for whatever he thought was going on in Afghanistan for 20 years. Oh no, it's a lot older than that. For the last 100 years at least, we've been robbing beautiful minds of their ability to be just that. So if you are good with the rest of the world being okay too, minus your big cities, then you know it's not a continental problem. It's a personal problem, because people are the only ones capable of thinking like that. The planet didn't go, this country doesn't like this country. No, people went, I don't like people, and they live here, and I don't like them there, but we're free, so come on over here and do what we say, right? And then they do the same thing, and you get mad when they do that to us, and they do it better. And then, so we do it better tit for tat forever until World War III is on the verge of happening, and now we have to see why. Because ignorance is not bliss. Knowledge is power. You don't have to be a Mason or of some Illumination lodge or a privatized section of spiritualism, which obviously didn't represent the whole organization. If it doesn't represent all of us equally, which is why I referenced skin tone, because it had nothing to do with that. The human race is one beautiful idea. You want some muscle? Wrap your mind around the truth. It's going to take a lot to hold it. Because the more truth you get, the more you just want to throw up. Now, we could do that, or we could just put our big boy pants on, and big girl pants on too, and be strong for our kids, because I've got two. And I went to war for them, for myself included, to come back and have this conversation, not at war with you, but to give peace, ease of mind to those who have enough information to at least toe the line with the ones who ignorantly just make us all look really, really bad when the rest of the world is waiting for America's beautiful minds to wake up again. They already have them. They've had them for a long time. America is the only one getting in the way, but it's not America as a whole. It's journalism without experience. Because you need that, so respect the elders, because they've been through this. Listen to them. They've been through this. You don't have to go through it like that again. If you listen to them the right way, you'll know that what I'm saying is not new. They've known this for years. It was long before I got here. So the information I'm gathering isn't new at all. It's embarrassing. So on social media and or mainstream media projects mainstream ignorance. All we do is go, why is it happening again? Oh, well, because that's the great distraction. They use it every time. Meanwhile, there's war happening over us all the time. Even over our own skies here in America. Just don't hear about it. Though, sometimes we do. And sometimes it comes from the inside. Because they get inside our lines too. They speak English just like you. And what they're waiting for is for you to show them that you are not a humanitarian of any type. Once you've shown them that, they become less likely to understand and more likely to dominate everything you own. Because we do know better than that, and it gives us power. In our home, that is my heart talking about COVID. The inflation bubbles that keep happening, they capitalize on that. Little guys get beat out, and you're all using a system that has no value. Not one bit of value. None of that mattered. Without all of those things in the way, we'd still be just fine. You'd still breathe your fucking air. You'd still eat your food. You'd still go to work and do everything you're doing, except you wouldn't be controlled by ideas that have no power. You'd still do all the things you do. You just wouldn't be controlled by it. Wouldn't that be great? I'm doing it. I need the rest of the world to do it too, because when I talk to you all, you get awfully fucking woozy in the head when I start to mention things that make sense when you know it shouldn't be happening, and then you run off and hide, or you go, this guy knows some things, I think we should do something because I don't know what to do with it. Well, maybe if you held it, like I told you, and don't get upset or offended by what I'm doing and be stronger than what I'm giving you, meaning you can just sit there and take it and listen to what I'm saying like a grain of sand, okay? You're not the whole ocean in one drop. You're one drop in the whole ocean. We're sharing a conversation, and I like to get animated. I'm a theatrical person. It's part of my fucking genetics. But I'm not acting with you. This is as real as it gets. Because a lot of things happen, and people go back to fucking business just like, oh, no big deal. It is. It's all a very big deal. It happened. And I told you about every bit of it. As it was happening, before it happened, while it was happening, and post-report. Here it is. It's still bullshit. You should still know how it works. It'd save us a lot of time and money on shit that don't have any value. By understanding how it works and not relying on me to be your soul for information. I have it. It's a lot. It's more than I can give you in a day. I couldn't give it to you in 4 years. It took many years for me to understand. Lots of information, not just coming from America, but all over the world, about all of our history. Without bias, of course, because if you had any of that, you weren't able to make it into the areas that at least needed to fucking be scratched on the surface, like I said, so you understand. If you don't, okay, figure it out. Don't get mad. I didn't insult your intelligence, your intellect, your aptitude, your ability to reason. You heard me perfectly. Okay? If you didn't know, fine. If you don't care, great. Continue not caring. Be well on your way. There's no one forcing you here today. I certainly didn't bind you with my words, but I did tell you to pay attention. pay attention to a lot of things. A lot more than you've realized, obviously. So I'm not giving you all the information because Govey's got to give that to you. And they're going to. They don't have a choice. And how we deal with them will be up to you. Personally, I just wanted you to be aware of it and let you know that I'm aware of it too. Now I'm just going to watch. I don't have a dog in this race, so to speak. I've become an observer, a historian of the mind, and all I have to do is be here to witness for the rest of my time. I fought war. I have a high degree of education coming from areas that were not certified and wouldn't have been certified anyway because of what they're doing with that. I understand why now. It's not the whole world. It's just certain institutions. And it's not America either, but it is the whole world. And it's certain institutions. So it's not a Chinese problem, it's not a Japanese problem, not an Asian problem. It's not a Norwegian problem, a Greenland problem, a South American problem, a North American problem. It's not a continental problem. It's not an African problem. It's not an Antarctic problem. It's not an ideas problem. It's not a personal problem. It's not a problem, actually, at all. That's the best part. And there'll be plenty of people trying to figure out what that means. They live making problems to solve problems that they know how to solve because they made them themselves. That's the catch-22. And they caught themselves red-handed too. Yeah, their house is divided. Red versus blue always has been. Always will be. It fell when it was. It's not now. It's not a home for you. Your home is right here. If you're native to the world, congratulations. It means because you were born on this planet. That's the basic right you have right now. Beyond that, you have quote-unquote man's laws, and then you have the laws of physics, and then you have the law, which is something well beyond the word, well beyond the sound, well beyond anything you could imagine. Yeah, then there's that. Which makes more sense to me now than anything else because it helps me describe these things without getting too emotional so I can help bring you down also. I would love to put it all together and, show you how it all webs to one little spot, but again, years. Don't need it. You know better. The information's out there. I'm just letting you know that I know, that we know, that you know. Inflation is a joke. They're making money off of it. COVID was a ruse. They had 7 years on a vaccine that needed 80. They rushed it, and it's because of what we are doing now. We, quote unquote, woke up because I got enough information to understand a bit more than the average bear yogi how this picnic is going down. And that's it. So when I paint with all the colors of the wind, it's because I'm being a poetic person. Intelligence is the aptitude to understand it. Okay? Your knowledge is a storehouse of wisdom. Wisdom comes from experience, so give credit to where credit is due. When you take credit from someone who started something also, you have to get credit back to them too. And since some of those won't be getting credit where that credit was due, that's why I said there's a law beyond law. And for the ones who know who broke that, well, guess what? That's what they do. They're in fear of themselves. They want to distract you. Let them do their own thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't all of Parliament at this moment, if not most of the high-ranking, quote-unquote, invisible world. Because, again, their value system is nothing. Literally. So we can still play with it. The idea works. The person's got to be bigger than the idea. That's you. So you created that idea. Don't be a calculator. You create the calculator. We know what 2 + 2 is. Great. You can do that by yourself. So don't be out there. NPC. Non-player character. Okay? doing all this crap, acting like you're saving the world when I just showed you there's nothing wrong with it. I told you, you've heard it. That's it. Ride it or don't. Life is a highway, and we're gonna ride it all night long. So, if you're loving life today, that's good. You know how. You don't need money. What you need is your family around. And family can't be happy if they're slaving away to something that was already slaving us in the first place. Make us in their image. Yeah. Well, how many other images are there? Why did you give all credit to the ones who made something of themselves to be less than themselves, to mine this planet in ways that we weren't supposed to, for us to continue doing that in ways we're not supposed to? To give credit to something that doesn't love you at all. I wanted to live forever. Yeah, that's a joke. Though you will, just not the way you thought. No, that's something I would like to call common sense. But some of y'all act like that's voodoo. But you'll pick up a Bible and it tells you that Moses slapped a stick on the rock and fucking water gushes out. Fine, okay. Or throw your snake on that fucking stick on the ground, turns into a serpent and eats everybody else. So you'll believe all that, but you won't come to reason with the science. You like numbers, you love your calculator, but you're lost in a fantasy world. You're lost in a fantasy world. You called that the truth, but now you hate the numbers, which is the only fact you got. Here's the thing. 1 through 9 is still 1. Even 0. It's the same thing. It's all just what it is. That is what it is. That's it. All right. Well, so COVID was to cover up things that they did wrong. Those families will still pay for it. Those are still being brought to the surface. No one is hiding from it. Those that rumbled are gone. They weren't dying from COVID. There were a lot of them. Those that went to prison. And those who went to prison that thought they weren't going to die were killed anyway. Because they knew things about our government that is still coming up to this day. And it will take time. But that's it. I'm tired of everybody being in the dark. That's what's going on. That's what happened. And while all that was happening, you know, the ones out here telling you the truth were getting railroaded by people who just genuinely sometimes help me find it very difficult to enjoy their ability to breathe this good, beautiful, flowing, awesome air. That's a nice way of saying use it wisely. And don't ever tell me I'm something I'm not again. I'll decide what I am, how I am, with whom I am, for whom I am, when I am, for whom I am, with whom I am. How I am, it is. And so it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's still just one thing. So, we're done with COVID. We're waiting on the government to figure it out. We know. And, yeah, you owe us big time. Guess what? It isn't a national debt. That's yours, not ours. We're not your slaves. Oh, it's attached to your Social Security numbers. They think that you're under contract with them. You're not. Those numbers belong to criminals. The same ones that keep pumping out the numbers for those viruses I keep telling you about. You should really look into those and how they work. It'll help you a whole bunch. That and oxidizations of different things. You know, what is that one thing? Graphene oxide, that's right. Graphene oxide. Look into graphene oxide poisoning. Please. Then look into the Pfizer vaccines. Please. And tell me why graphene oxide was part of the program. If it's meant to help. Why the Pfizer vaccine only had 7 years out of the 80 and against recommendations was shoved into our asses anyways. And why the known world at the moment they needed the science most, the science was there, the majority didn't have it. Well, that was part of what they tried to do to you. It's not your fault, but they are way ahead of us. And they're going to be patient when we catch up. Not treat us like crap because they know better. And because they know better, they're going to get on our level. And it will be more painful for them because they know better. And while we're learning, we're not going to have any sympathy for them because they get frustrated with us. Because they are that smart. Like Prometheus and Bob. I got to teach you something? Well, we're not speaking the same language anymore. We just know we're meant to do this. It's what we chose. So get along. Either way you want it. That's the way we got it. Either way you want it. Do 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 do. All right. Thanks. I don't even know why I started this video anymore. Maybe next time I'll be more collected with my thoughts. I believe the reason this one is scattered so much is because all the pieces are there. I just need you to, like a surgeon cutting for the very first time, try to fill in the blanks. Okay? I did my part. So for your safety, for OPSEC, for their safety, for our safety, for everyone's safety, I get it. Am I pissed? Yeah. Am I allowed to tell you to suffer? No. Those are war crimes. You're not allowed to do certain things. They have violated your rights, the Constitution, and our way of living. Who are they? It's not exactly our government. It's not exactly a foreign entity. And it's not exactly the observers in the sky. There's more going on below the surface and above this world that meets the eye. That you should really pay attention to because our government knows this. That's as far as it goes because that's Secret Service. It's like that for a reason. You want to be part of the crew? There are prerequisites, rites of passage, and life has to choose you. They don't choose you. You will choose yourself. Make yourself known, express yourself well, intelligently, intellectually. Control your emotions. Try not to be like me. I get animated. Again, I'm theatrical. I took theater in high school. It's part of my program. But I also understand when it can be unnecessary. And if it is, don't let it be. Just listen, hand in hand. I love you more than you could ever know. I'm me. I'm the only one who will know that. I know. No doubt. Thank you again to my kids. I love you. To my wife, thank you. To anyone calling me their wife. Or me their husband. Fuck. I love you too. Please don't do that. It's rude. And to anyone else, you know, the world is just like that. You know, it's an upgraded high school where the principal's just nowhere to be found, off drowning its head in its own discovery somewhere, and I don't blame them. However, that is part of the reason they don't mind things hurting as much, nor did it help them invigorate their hearts with the compassion they need to understand what I'm saying is they were once like us too. That's what I meant by they're going to be patient with you. They have to, because we're together with this, for this, by this, with whom it is, for whom it is, forever. This is family, all shapes, all sizes, all genders, all mindsets. We are reorganizing, redirecting, recalibrating, transmuting, transposing, transforming, and conclusively, as a group, I believe, coming to a close, so that we might be able to communicate a little better in the future. That's what I'm hoping for. So I'll end on a good note. I believe it is. That, and don't trust everything you hear. Stop getting emotional about social media. Don't let it run your life. Get culturally sound. Trust your neighbors. Stop playing into ideas that don't work for us and haven't worked for I don't know how long. No, I don't know what half the world's talking about most of the time. If I tried to understand it, then I'd have to become part of the insane part that just wants to repeat the process and doesn't see a way out. If they don't, then they're the problem. If you don't understand that, you're still the problem. It's okay. We'll agree to disagree and have a good day. So that's the best we can do. And we may. So there it is. You have it. I have it. We have it. That's love. So be loved. Love and be love. All things. We have the same essence. We are the same divine being. We are the same creation. Our Creator in our image is light. And that is a formless way of being. Not necessarily arms and legs. So think about it. In the form of Adham. Ironically, Mata. Which is Sylvan. So it'll help you understand the vibration, the frequency, the rhythm, the patterns. It will help you identify your mind. The character you are building is yours to create. You have all the options to create things that you have seen, just like they have been, or to take those things, to fuse them up, to make new things that have not been, or just watch. If you're capable of that, that's okay. Doesn't make you right or wrong today. Thanks. All of it is good options. Express yourself. Be loved, love, and be